When can the U.S. government kill its own citizens? A memo written by the Justice Department and acquired by NBC News lays out the criteria. The Post's Karen DeYoung is here to help us understand it, but first, let's take a look at just what the document says. The memo lays out a legal framework for killing a U.S. citizen abroad and the criteria for executing such an attack. If the citizen is a senior operational leader in Al-Qaeda or an associated group and poses an imminent threat to the United States, as determined by an informed, high-level official in the U.S. government, according to the document, the Obama administration can legally kill them. And months after the document was given to lawmakers, the government did just that, killing U.S.-born cleric Anwar al-Awlaki. As I said, Karen DeYoung joins us here to discuss a little bit about what it says and what it doesn't say, because there seems to be, for everything it describes, a lot of gray areas about what some of these terms mean and how they might be interpreted.
Well, there aren't a lot of specifics in it, and it's important to remember that this is a summary document that was taken from a much longer and more detailed document that's still classified.
This is the book report to the real document.
Right. And this is something that was unclassified, was given to Congress because they've been clamoring for the document itself.
One thing I try to understand with these documents, and we were talking before about it, there was a similar thing with the use of torture and legal statements in the Bush administration. Who, at the end of the day, is on the hook once a document like this is written? Because those who execute what the document says is legal aren't on the hook because of the document. Are the people who wrote the document on the hook?
No, they're just like your lawyer. These are the administration's lawyers in the Justice Department, and the Office of Legal Counsel serves in an advisory capacity to the administration. When like you would have to your lawyer a question about, well, if I do this, is it legal? And the lawyer can say, well, here, let me cite these 10 precedents for you. Let us tell you what we think, and this is our best legal judgment, but it's not a legal document in and of itself.
Well, is it too much to say there's something almost like Orwellian about the way the buck seems to get passed around, but it doesn't seem clear who's actually saying, I'm the guy who's authorizing this?
Well, I think that's true, and it's also true to say that because all of this is still secret, who they decide to target, how they target them, what the exact criterion are for an individual are still secret. It really is the administration producing a document to justify what the administration decides to do, and it very specifically says that no one else outside the executive branch, not the courts, not Congress, really has the right to make these decisions or even know what they are.
In kind of a bottom line way, how, if at all, did this change our understanding of the drone program or how the U.S. potentially would use that force against its own citizens abroad?
I don't think it changed my understanding, but it certainly provided more details. It made it clear that there are different standards for U.S. citizens and non-U.S. citizens in terms of targeting for lethal action with drones or anything else. But again,
help me understand what that difference is. What's the difference for U.S.?
It's in terms of you have to be a senior leader, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they do what they call signature strikes in places like Pakistan, that if you're acting in a certain way, if you're in a certain car, if you're going from point A to point B, then you're assumed to be participating with terrorists. In this case, it says this has to be a senior operational leader. And I think it was interesting to note that in its descriptions of Awlaki after he had been killed, although the United States never really acknowledged that it killed him, and his name is never mentioned in this document, here's a guy who was described by the president after he was killed as the leader of external operations for Al-Qaeda, where in fact he had always been described prior to that as a propagandist, as a guy who was on the internet foaming up recruits and getting people excited to participate in jihad.
And giving him that title, perhaps not a coincidence if that's the standard needed.
I don't think it's any coincidence at all.
Yeah, Karen, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.